Today's notes are going to be on comparing fractions. So to compare fractions, you can use the least common denominator to compare fractions. So that's what our blank is. It tells you LCD is the least common denominator. So to find the least common denominator, we're going to use the least common multiple to be able to find it. So we're going to compare the following fraction pairs using the greater than, less than, or equal to symbols and the least common multiple. So our first fraction pair is 3/4 and 7/8. We want to say which one of these is bigger or if they are equal to each other. To do so, we have to find a common denominator. So we're going to list the multiples of 4 and the multiples of 8. So, multiples of 4. We multiply 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And we do the same with the 8. So we're going to do 4. So 4's multiples are 4, 8, 12, and 16. And I always do the little dots to show that the multiples go on forever. 8, we do the same thing. We're going to say 8, 16, 24, 32, and so on. So, common multiples of 4 and 8, we have 8 and we have 16. Which number is the smallest? The 8. So that is our least common multiple, which is now going to become our least common denominator. So we want both fractions to have a denominator of 8. Well, 7/8 is already an 8, so you can just leave it as 7/8. 3/4, however, we want the 4 to become an 8. So we have to multiply 4 by a number to get 8. What number was that? Well, you go 1, 2. So 4 times 2 gives you 8. So we're going to multiply 3/4 by 2 to get a new fraction. We're finding an equivalent fraction. So 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is that 8. So 3/4 is equivalent to 6/8. We now use our new fractions to compare. When you have like denominators, you just need to compare the numerators. So 6 and 7, which number is bigger? The 7. So 7/8 is bigger than 6/8, and which 6/8 reduces to 3/4, so 7/8 is bigger than the 3/4. So we can now move on to 2/3 and 7/10. Do the same thing. We have to list the multiples of 10 and the multiples of 3. Multiples of 3 is 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, and 33. And then they would keep going. Multiples of 10 we'll say are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and so on. We then find the least common multiple of those two. So what number occurred in both lists? 30. So we want both of our fractions to have a denominator of 30. So I'm going to rewrite that first. We want them both to be 30. So what do we have to multiply 10 by to get 30? 3. So 10 times 3 gives you 30. You have to do the same thing with your numerator. 7 times 3 is 21. So that's your equivalent fraction for 7/10 is 21/30. Do the same thing with 2/3. 3 times what gives you 30? 10. So 2 times 10 gives you your numerator, which would be 20. So your new fractions you're comparing are 20/30 or 21/30. So which one is bigger? If you ate a piece of pizza or the pizza that was cut into 30 slices, which one did you eat more of? The 21. So then you just put your sign between your originals because this is the same as this. They are equivalent statements. Moving on to 1/5 and 3/15. Do the same thing. Multiples of 5, multiples of 15. Multiples of 5 are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and so on. Multiples of 15, 30, and 45. That is what I'm going to stop on. Excuse me. What numbers occur in both lists? Well, 15 and 30 occur in both lists, but we want the least common denominator, the least common multiple, so we're going to say 15. So if we want our bottom numbers to be 15, well, 3 over 15 is already 15. But we want 1/5 to become something over 15. So 5 times 3 gives you 15. So 1 times 3 is going to give you your new numerator. Now compare your new fractions. So 3/15 and 3/15. Well, those two are equal, so these two are also equal. So that is using the least common denominator to compare fractions. You can also do a little trick. You can make cross multiplication and make whole numbers to compare. So if we do cross multiplication and we do 12 times 2, we get 24. If we do 3 times 7, we get 21. Now we just compare the whole number parts. 24 and 21. Which one is bigger? 24. So it eats the 2/3. Same for 1/3 and 5/9. Cross multiply. 1 times 9 is 9. 3 times 5 is 15. So 9 and 15, which one would be bigger? 15. So 5/9 is bigger than 1/3. Finally, we have 2/5 and 6 over 15. Cross multiply. 2 times 15 is 30. 5 times 6 is also 30. 30 and 30, then those two fractions are equal. If you don't like either method, you have to pick one. So, if you don't like this method, stick to doing the least common denominator. If you don't really like the least common denominator, you can try the cross multiplication method. We have one more example for today's notes. It's going to be a word problem down at the bottom. So, Trevor made 2 out of 3 goals and Ben made 5 out of 6. Who made a greater fraction of goals? So Trevor, as a fraction, made 2/3. So 2 over 3. Ben, he made 5 out of 6. So 5 over 6. If we compare the two, we have 2/3 and 5/6. We can do either or. Cross multiply, you get 2 and 6. That makes 12. 3 and 5 makes 15. And compare. Or we can do the least common denominator. Common factors of 3 and 6. Factors or multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and so on. 6 are 6, 12, 18, 24, and so on. What numbers occur in both lists? Well, 6 and 12, but we want the least common number, which is our 6. So make them both be 6. So this one's already 6, so it stays 5/6. But 2/3 to make it be 6, you have to multiply 3 by 2 to get 6. So 2 times 2 is 4. So which one's bigger? 5/6 is bigger. Well, look, your 15's bigger than your 12. So either method works out. It's just whatever your preference is. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.